again. Siema. Ogólnie jem kolację, więc wyciszam się jeszcze chwilę.
Millions of reasons to let it all go. Hope we're not too broken.
Hello.
I know I'm not always strong.
Możecie napisać, czy muzyka jest dobrze. Czy nie za głośno. I tak nudzi mi się w życiu, że robię streama. Usunę mikrofon trochę. Będzie klawiaturę słychać, muszę dać trochę wyżej mikrofon. O, git. Liczę, że nie będzie słychać klawiatury. Mnie też dobrze słychać? Ale co trochę ciszej? Mnie czy muzykę? Tak. No super. Dogadać się. Sok sobie odpalę. Obok otwarty, nieważne, to jest otworzy. Muzykę ciszej. Dobra, przyciszę wam. To. Onki, czekaj. No tak. Dobra, nic. Będziemy dzisiaj grali w fajną grę. I to jest dlatego, że nie robię streama tylko dlatego, że po prostu nie byłam w stanie jej nagrać. Wcale. A tak szczerze, to mi się audio psuło na każdej, więc stwierdziłam, że wywalone robię z wam streama, bo jest zarąbista gierka. Lubię bardzo ją. Co odpalę? To najpierw wam wyłączę wszystkie możliwe... A poczekajcie, dobra, licznik wyłączę. Jak będę chciała skończyć, to skończę po prostu. Na razie czatu. Jaka to gra? To jest... Zaraz wam się wyświetli nazwa, okej? Bo mój angielski jest bardzo słaby. Wrzucę wam tylko tak. Najpierw wrzucę to na drugi ekran. Okej? Mamy tak, o. Tak ja. Teraz macie tak. Tak. Sprawić wam jakość. Git. Lola, nie zrobię streama. Jestem zbyt beznadziejna w tą grę. Fortnite'a? Czasem się zdarzy, tak szczerze. Kurde, nie wiem. Dobra, w sumie zrobimy tak. Mam tego czas wrzucę. Znaczy sobie wrzucę. O. Coś takiego zrobię. Czasem się zdarzy. Już było chyba słychać grę. Teraz ją włączę. Tyk, macie? Jeszcze nie, o, git. Teraz robimy tak. Git. Donaty są. Topka jest. O, jest git. Wszystko git. I co, wezmę czat po prostu, co tak randomowo ustawię. O. Tak. Mogę widzieć życie. Co? A, to było nie o, tylko co? Muzykę jeszcze trochę ściszę.
I'm just gonna
I
start
gotta
beginning with the house.
Ja gada tej grze, więc... Czasem się zdarzy, no bo... Tak. Nie będę się tłumaczyć.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
Może wam po prostu zrobię tak, że włączę wam muzykę w tej grze, a wyłączę to, żeby nie być nakładać. Cze? Co? Nie słychać tej muzyki. Hit. Masz dobrze? Musicie sobie czytać dialog, nie będę wam czytać. Albo będę czasami czytać i komentować to. Robienie live'ów z takiej gry jest spoko. Kurde.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
Okej, zamykamy. Ale jeszcze zrobię magiczną rzecz. Mianowicie, oho. To oho.
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
Żył brata. No, nie będę czytać. Wiem teraz.
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked.
Klucz zostawiła nam mamę. Ale nie
Maybe
powiedziała,
she
co
thought I'd
otwiera.
know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Albo myślę, że będę wiedzieć, albo będzie to tak tajemnicze, że będę chciała wrócić specjalnie z powrotem. Możecie napisać, co tam u was, widzowie. O, siema Sumo, mój ulubiony Discordowiec.
No one had driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few hoof prints.
Bo nie mogę powiedzieć, że TikToker. Szukałaś mnie, porobiłaś mnie trochę. To jest powolona gra, od razu mówię. Pamiętasz pieseła? Tak.
The truth
Teraz
is,
ostatnio z nim grałam.
even after I
Valoranta.
inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But
Życie.
now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
Tajemnice o rodzinie, których... No tylko tam.
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
Tak jak w moich snach. Pomówcie, czy głośna jest
As a
muzyka, czy
child,
nie.
the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words.
Ciszę. Komfort w domu można było ubrać w tych słowach.
Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
Mam współ...
I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't.
Mam się. O,
Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me.
życie. O. Ej, Zumaronki. Kiedy Demimik, bo zdążyły już wyjść. Więc chyba kolejny chapter świąteczny, a ja nawet dwóch. Mi? W sumie pół na pół. Lekcje
Crawling through the
zdalne.
doggy door
Dzisiaj
used to be a
pierwsze
lot
miałam.
easier when I was 11.
Pierwsze zdalne miałam. Poczekajcie sekundę. Chyba am zrobić. Nie. Rozumiem, że my traktujemy zasadę, że jeden odcinek na 2 miesiące.
The power had been turned off the night we left. For the first time in years, I felt like I was home.
Nie, wydaje ci się. Wydaje ci się, to nie ja.
But
To
instead of
inny
a family,
youtuber.
there were just memories of one.
Tak.
Like how after Lewis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our
Nagrywałam
cat,
odcinek z tej
Molly.
gry chwilę temu, ale mnie zdenerwowało auto, więc stwierdziłam, że po
Nothing
prostu
in the house
live'a
looked
zrobię.
abnormal.
Bo gra jest
There was just
zarąbista.
Too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth.
To jest bardzo super. I
Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the
Erika
bricks came
wiedziała,
from the original house
tylko
after it sank.
starego domu. To jest no. Nie wiem czy jutro. Wiem, że wychodzi.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left.
Wyjechali.
My mom was the only one of us who could imagine great grandma Edie living in a nursing home. It was like a bomb had gone
Miła
off,
mama.
killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
Aha. Sadkę trochę. Powiem, że nie.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
Nasza Edith? Co to jest? Są drzwi. Smolly.
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
Oj, chyba bardzo, bardzo niewiele. Tam mi się nie chce iść.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up. Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him. Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets. Now it
Jak
was
się
time to
jutro
find out what
uda,
my mom had been
to zrobię
afraid
wam
of.
jeszcze jednego streamka. Co wy na to? Jak się uda po zdalnych. Bo ja jutro... Ej Martyna. Ja jutro kończę, słuchajcie. Godzinie... Jutro mamy Polski? Czego nas dręczą? Czego nam tu? 14:20. Ty, mam... 14:20 kończę. W czwartek też nas dręczą, zauważyłam. Czy mamy zajęcia z wychowawcą jutro? Dobra,
From the
Milton,
paintings
co
on the
tam?
wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me. Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan, but I had no idea what was behind that door.
Wszyscy chyba na telefon.
Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
Ale nie widzę ile... Dwie osoby.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Okej. No i wróciłam. Okej, kok. Tutaj. Nie.
The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Ale nie dba o to.
Mom, can I come out now?
Sweetheart, it's late. Go to sleep.
Późno jest, spać. Nie. Mogę zjeść rybkę?
I thought about eating Christopher, but I held back.
Trzymamy się. Czego?
I ate a lot of things that night. I kept eating and eating.
Flashy. Nagrania.
Then I heard
Zagrania?
chirping outside my window.
No to jeszcze co gramy na Discordzie
It was a
najczęściej.
barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her.
Mam przed siebie.
And suddenly, I was
Dzisiaj mówiłam, że ta
attacked.
gra jest powalona. Jestem nagle kotem. Hop. Hop, hop. Jutro bym zrobił albo live'a z Valoranta,
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really
albo
scared.
live'a z przygotowań do napadu, w sumie tego. Z...
Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
GTA. W sumie tego samego napadu. Bo ten napad by był mega długi, więc pewnie nie przesiedzielibyśmy i nie robilibyśmy go na maksa.
I jumped and I almost got her.
Valoranta jutro.
I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree.
Spoko.
I
nie
promised
mogę.
Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an
Valoranta jutro
island.
mogę lecieć.
First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass. Rabbits.
Mam cię. Mam beka z ciebie.
I imagined his face looking up and
Jak
seeing
ogarnę w
eyes
końcu,
in my talons.
jak będę, jak się nagrywa bez tych walonych szumów,
And I didn't
że
chew.
cały czas słychać, to
Flew
będzie
off to
super.
find something bigger.
Mam wrażenie, że wcześniej audio było zdecydowanie lepsze. Dopóki nie zaczęłam się
I'm
bawić
on a rabbit.
OBS-em. Mamy go. Tak.
She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
Powiedzcie mi, jak ta gra może być niepowalona, skoro ja w lesie nagle staję się rekinem? Bardzo powalone. Możesz jeszcze coś powiedzieć, czy słyszycie szumy teraz jakieś? No spacy na pewno słyszycie. No. No. Okej. O. O, git. Prosty.
I
No
rolled off
właśnie, ja
the
nie mam
cliff
pojęcia
into
co
the
jest.
ocean. Now, I was
Ja wiem, że na pewno spację jesteście w stanie słyszeć, jak będę nawalać. Bo to jest pewne. chwili, witam. Bo jak, powiem wam tak, jak ogarniesz szumy, mam tak zarąbiste pomysły na nagrywanie z moją sektą, aka ekipką. Mamy wiele gier, w które się nam mega fajnie gra. Jest ta foka. Gdzie ta foka? Piłam, o tam jest. Powiedziałam hej faski! Tak słuchasz, tak mnie słuchasz, zawsze tak było. A później chcę. Kieleczki za free. Haha.
I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
Wybacz. Gdzie ta foka? Mogę tym rekinem sterować. On taki beznadziejny do sterowania.
I grabbed
Mam
it
cię.
tight,
Ha.
but I was so hungry.
O!
I jumped out of
Do
the
najlepszego!
When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
No wiesz, powiem tak, starość nie radość, a niektórzy się do tego śpieszą. Ja na przykład chciałabym już swoje 18 lat. 18 bym zrobiła takiego live'a wam. 24H. Live.
I was big.
I gry wybierają, nie wiem, top teenagerzy wybierają gry w jakie gramy i od razu je odpalam. Nie, dlaczego ja zjadam ludzi najpierw się trzeba zapytać. Dlaczego ja zjadam ludzi? To jest dobre pytanie. Nie, będzie picia na live, no nie oszukujmy się. Nie, robimy drunk streamów. Drunk streamy nie są dla mnie.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
Chciałabym kamerkę mieć, a kamerkę mówiłam, że mogę wam dać już od tego. Od powiedzmy 50k mogłabym dać jednak. Ale co, 18 czy stream? 18 pewnie będę miała w jakimś miarę miejscu takim, że...
After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And to cross the water,
Siema,
something
Regulamin.
I had to have, so I swam towards it.
Nie, streamy z picia, nie. Oba. Jadam już moje picie. Gdzie? Wytówę. Jadam już moje jedzenie. Muszę wam coś jeszcze na drugi kanał ogarnąć.
I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Tak, gdybym zrobiła zmieniła zdanie i chciałabym jednak zrobić streamek z picia, to super, okej? Czaję.
I got closer and closer.
Coraz bliżej. Ej, bo my jesteśmy w pokoju tej dziewczynki, którą niby gramy, która niby jest nią. Świnki!
All my stomach started
Wszystkie
growling,
moje brzuchy zaczęły burczeć.
and suddenly I was me again.
No,
I
to
held
jest
my breath,
słynny stary tekst.
but I couldn't hear anything
Ale co śmieszne,
waiting for me to fall asleep.
niektóre z tych tekstów czasem potrafią być ustawione. Ale ten nie był. To był taki randomowy tekst powiedziany, że śmiesznie było.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
Dobra, czyli mamy już historię Molly. Jeszcze tylko parę osób nam zostało. Kto wie? Kiedy ty odcinek ze mną nagrywałeś? Minecraft, to już wiem którego, Boże. Był jakiś ten jeden konkretny. Nie pamiętam co tam było. A chyba itemki na głowie? Nie, itemki na głowie z shake'iem nagrywałam. O, z innym. Jednym z dwóch. Przepraszam. Krew na twarzy. A, to może jednak z tobą nagrywałam. Dobra, wychodzimy oknem. Powiem wam tak, wy macie tak
This will be
zarobiście
obvious
ładne
later,
kolory.
But my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have,
Bo
but
cel?
Mom didn't like bringing up the past.
Słuchajcie,
Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the
Cel?
one who named it Molly.
zasłania te. Mam tutaj, okej? Czekaj. Ja pamiętam, ze mną grałaś też, nagrałaś jak mieliśmy grę, jak się puszczało się szklanki, piosenki. O!
I spent a lot of time in Great Grandma Edie's room. Her room was like a museum. For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch
Misfortune to
buries the
ten,
latest
pech.
victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind.
A? Którą teraz jestem? The Remnants of Edith Finch.
But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Okay. Coś się... Dobra, jak z tego wyjść? Pewno nie tak. Dobrze. O, mamy
Whatever's
kolejnego.
wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
Kolejnego i git. Mamy. A, tu jest ta ścierka.
Louis died a week
Louis.
before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him. Edie knit me a new pair of gloves every year, just in time to replace the old ones. Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
Historia polega na tym, że dziewczynka 17-letnia wróciła do domu swojej całej rodziny. I ona ma w sumie, bo jako że ma, jak wyjeżdżała, miała 11 lat,
I hadn't
chcę
thought of myself
poznać
as Edith
historię
being
tej
here
całej
for a
rodziny.
long, long time.
Tyle, że jakby przez to, że jej mama w sumie
When Edie told people Sven
zabierała
was killed by a
wszystkie
dragon,
możliwe
she
informacje o
could also have
rodzinie,
said he was
to nie
building a
była w stanie
dragon-shaped
jej się
slide that
dowiedzieć.
collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
Także na
Even
przykład...
in their 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
No, nowy rok jeszcze raczej nie, bo pewnie zrobię streamka przy tym. A ten nie wyjdę. Ale nawzajem.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
Ślad. Weź, nie mogę. Nic. Nie ma, ojejku. Szkawka. O. Kluczyk.
There's a secret in this bathroom.
Wiem.
It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Idź, mamy to. O, Piccolo! Wiem, czego nie pijecie. Ja nie jadę do swojej
gave Sam
dziewczyny,
no
a nie do
camera he
swojego
refurbished.
chłopaka, bo trzeba takie osoby
He
mieć.
never put it down.
Zawsze przy sobie. Tutaj też dotarł mi. My jesteśmy w tym Port Kevina, Port Sama. Sam uwielbiam rzeczy typu wojny. Jak Calvin wolał kosmos. Czuję wam.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin,
O brata
and that
bliźniaka
he never talked about him.
do mnie.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
O.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
Nogi są.
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom, and he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again, and he wasn't.
Się bać.
I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam! Calvin! Dinner's ready!
Racja!
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
To jest...
Calvin! I'm not gonna tell you again!
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to
Zbiedny
remember about my
Calvin.
brother.
Doskoczyć. Oho.
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Aż... Nie złamię się. Ale biedny 11 lat
Calvin's story
umarł.
felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing. After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room. Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
Tu jest coś, ale... Jeszcze... Nic się nie da. Teoretycznie zerwane. No. No trochę szkoda. Ja chyba muszę coś. Magia. O. Cieki. Dom? A co śmieszna myszka mi się skończy. Znaczy myszka, podkładka.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Proszę.
Growing up, I
Barbara
always thought of
Fish.
Barbara as a child star.
Gwiazda. O.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Umarła w wieku 16 lat, popatrzcie. Tam sobie. O nie, fu! To już musi być stary. To już...
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Boże, jakieś dźwięki godowe.
I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
O, przynajmniej wiemy, gdzie jest klucz do piwnicy.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as
Przecież to ja teraz kręcę.
she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
Fajnie.
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Jezu, przerażające. Ta gra miała być niestraszna. kurna, komuś się nudzi w życiu?
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
The
Nie.
old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Aha! Taka zrika.
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you're...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
No nie, znowu. Nudzi mi się w życiu, że ja kurna muszę iść do góry. Komu mam teraz przybrać? Proszę, nie...
Walter, are you there? Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Oho!
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing.
Oho!
Whoever he was, he couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
On wchodzą mi kurna do domu.
Her part, beautiful.
Ja nie wiem, co tu się dzieje. Na pewno musimy wyjść przez okno.
She thought about abandoning Walter, but just couldn't do it.
Mam iść kurna. Tutaj tędy?
Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned.
To jest normalna gra. Walnij go. I wypadnij.
He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
Nie ruszał się. Dobra, idziemy do niego. Alusia, jak zniknie, to będzie straszne. No kurna, zniknął.
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was...
No nie, błagam, nie trolujcie mnie. Też wyglądał w +1, że wygląda do jakichś
At the
chłopak.
door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
No weź otwórz te... O. Otwórz te drzwi.
Oh dear.
Kto to był? Ale co za frajerzy!
The monsters had
Huh?
come to surprise her. For
Ona zbiera informacje o swojej rodzinie.
come true.
To taki trochę podobny do
And she
Life is
saw
Strange.
what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She
Ania?
was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there
Nie czaję.
myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom.
Nie, teraz tak kręcą.
So did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter, hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box was all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real ear eater.
No, super się darłam. Powiem tak, super ucho.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
Okej. Teraz powiedzcie mi... O Boże. Barbstrat. Nic ciekawego. To co, wracamy. Nie gram w rankedy. Więc jakby nie mam rangi
I
konkretnej.
guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
Ej, ale faktycznie, patrzcie. To jest wybite. W tym konkretnym miejscu. Ale jak chyba mam nawet, jeśli chodzi o rangę, to mam może Irona, dwójkę, znaczy jedynkę. Prawda. Ja nie mam żadnych kurna broni. Żadnych. Ale to nie jest tak przerażające jak w tej śmiesznej historii. Znaczy bardzo śmiesznej, strasznej.
Mom said the
Fun.
basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
A bo wujek Sven budował zjeżdżalnię smoka.
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages. I thought maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
Nie no. Ja szczerze
I
mówiąc
remember
liczyłam
asking
na to,
Mom
że nie
once
będzie
about where Walter
jumpscare'a.
had gone.
Nie chciałam się drzeć, szczególnie 20 godziny.
She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
Walter. Walter przeżył naprawdę długo. No i lecimy.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow.
Ty, rok się zmienia.
But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything.
Patrzcie, na rok się zmienia.
Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly.
Ej, bo w ogóle mnie ciekawi jedna rzecz.
And then one day, everything just
Patrzcie, 025.
Whatever that
2000...
thing was,
A który to jest?
it was
Marc, to
gone.
jeszcze się nie urodziłam wtedy.
Maybe you got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid.
Zastanawiam się tylko, skąd on ma kalendarze, skoro nie wychodził. Bo kalendarze nie możesz, nie masz na przykład kalendarza na 50 lat.
It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years.
Nie było jedzenia?
I'm done waiting. I have to leave while I still can.
Chodzi. 17 prawie.
I know it's out there somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara and Molly and Calvin. Maybe this is all a mistake.
Jaka?
But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me.
Że tak, Edwinę zabiła huśtawka, która spada. Oli zabił jakiś potwór, a Barbara w końcu nie wiadomo jak zginęła teoretycznie.
I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left, or a month, or a single week. I'd be happy with one more day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
A. Waltera zabił pociąg, okej.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here. I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
Wow, ale widoki zarąbiste! Widzicie te góry? Widzicie te góry? Jo! On to miał jednak widoki. Bo...
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made, trying to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe two, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else.
Tak, ona...
But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
Walter został... Ej, ale jak został potrącony przez pociąg, skoro to nawet... Chociaż? Dobra, mogą być te stary. Są krzesła.
I don't know if I should even be writing this.
Co ci? Obraz.
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me.
Okay.
But I thought you should know about your family.
No chcę, dawaj.
And the history you're a part of. Though to be
dalej
honest,
iść.
I feel as lost as you probably do right now.
A, jestem zagubiony. No wszyscy
I
umarli
think people in
tragicznie.
these stories believe
Też klątwo na tym,
for what that's worth.
jak wierzyli w dziwo. No nie, no nie. W sumie trochę tak. Ja prawdziwie. Tylko Walter nie wierzył w to, że zginie przez pociąg. To był tylko przypadek.
And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible.
Tu jeszcze nie mamy historii. W większości. Eddie, Histori, Town i Edith. Wiem, ciemno tu.
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it.
Mogę, bo po
What
co?
kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
Czemu to jest rodzina?
It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils are mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Ja wiem, że... Bracia... Durpi, Lurpi, Burpi, 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 Durpi, Durpi Junior. Super imiona. Czekaj, bo to jest... Lucy? Oj, Lucy, piesek umarł. Daisy, Charlie to kotek. Turki, Oko, Molly. No tu, o Boże, tu jeszcze jest. Nie mieli zwierząt. Ej, to jest ta rybka, którą chciałam zjeść. Shadow, Adzi, Oliver, Bob, kolejny 4 lata. To jest żabka, ale nie wiem jak się żabka nazywa. Bailey.
Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery.
Do domu, lecz... Cmentarz. Molly. Ej, to jest idealnie pokazane. Ona zginęła 2 dni po swoich urodzinach. To jest smutne. Kelvin. 15. A Walter, bo on ma taką dom. Jest Barbara, jeszcze tam są.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away.
To jest Eddie. Odin.
She could see it poking out of the water at low tide.
Sprawdzić. Tak, dobra.
Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
Okay.
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from.
Co jeszcze?
Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better.
Sam? Ej, bo nie pamiętam, który Eddie. Eddie miała 1,17. 9,17. Patrzcie, jakim... Ten czy 3 miał. Ten miał rok cały. Ten miał 18 lat? Nie. 13 lat.
She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us. We never found Milton's body, so my mom insisted we were putting up a monument, not a tombstone.
Pomnik, a nie nagrobek. Nie wiem, kim jest. Coś tam. Też umarła dosyć.
There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
Mama nie chciała mówi. To jest ta miejsce. Już skakaliśmy
But looking back on
kot.
it now, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
Co? Ona, ta dziewczynka jest w ciąży jeszcze. W 22 tygodniu. Nie wiem, ile tygodni jest. Sorry, nie. To jest linka. Typ.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common. They were both pretty intense. Sam spent his life shooting photos.
A sam to nie był ten? Brat? Tak.
Said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
Tu jest ten. No to może... Okej.
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
Ale on nie umarł jako ten. On 30 parę lat mógł mieć.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shooting is strongly encouraged.
Shouldn't we be leaving?
Just want to get a shot of you, Dawn, then we can take off.
What?
Ja mam jej zrobić zdjęcie, dobra.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? Please just take the damn picture.
Hey, language.
I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
Come on.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
Aw.
Nie mam, komu mam zrobić zdjęcie? Tej dziewczynie znowu?
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Komu mam robić zdjęcie?
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
Hold still while I take a picture.
Czemu panu myśli, że trzeba zrobić?
That's a keeper.
Nothing quite like being outside. I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Dawn, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph?
Maybe it's just fotografuję.
Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip.
O,
Dad!
Good eyes, Dawn.
i mamy jelenia.
Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Dad, I...
Let me get behind you.
Jelenia chcesz skrzywdzić.
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. Great shot, Dawn!
Ale ko...
I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that, okay?
Nie kpocz za jelonkiem, no błagam.
Sorry, Dawn, just gotta reset the timer.
Tak mam stronę?
Hang on, kiddo. Just trying to get a shot of the two of us together.
Nie płacz.
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally
so...
normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Ja. Smutno.
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
Drzwi. W którym dachu?
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Czekajcie, czy tutaj jakiś wokół dziecka? Gregory. O, Speed.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Ty, jestem takiem. Mam robić. Nie wiem, co mam. Zapka. Jestem.
Bath time's over, Gregory. It's time to... Hold on, sweetie.
Hello?
Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
Whoa.
I wonder what he saw. What his world was like.
A, mamy więcej kaczek. Robimy to.
He reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination. Whatever it was he saw.
To pewnie w wodzie się utopił.
It sure made him happy.
Hop. Nie.
I know how silly it sounds.
Dobrze.
But I worried about a baby being too happy. But I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw.
No i...
There's so much I don't understand about Gregory. About everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want me to be happy too.
Husky.
Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
A speed w rysowaniu. Tak. Ty przez to, że...
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
Ale... O jest...
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, "We don't need a stepmom," were the words that I remembered. When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Ale środkowy palec, niemiły chłopczyk. Ile on ma lat? Sprawdzę, poczekajcie. To jest Gus. A, on miał...
The wind picked up and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Potrzebujemy literki zebrać.
The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made.
Okej.
The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, make the music louder.
Proszę dać mu. Chciałbym. To nie powinno go skrzywdzić.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea and foam.
Przypianie w wodzie.
But I didn't. Until we found you.
Ale to nie powinno go skrzywdzić. Nie wiem, co go zabiło.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Nie wiedziała, że istnieje takie osoby. Nie wyjdziemy. Znaczy tutaj coś. O, ścianka wspinaczkowa.
My mom moved
Bezpiecznie.
up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died. My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later.
Czyli Louis urodził się rok później, czyli szkoła 1987 się wprowadziła do Indii.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back.
Tak, czyli nasza mama ma na imię Dawn, a w sumie jest napisane. Ale ojca dalszy dziób.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good, almost normal. But it didn't last.
A.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
Pokój Miltona.
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Cześć. O, i udało się. Osoba, która drzwi.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
proszę.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Okej. Nie mogę użyć tego obrazu. Muszę jakieś coś narysować.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Jest kolejne piętro. Tędy.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Everyone always told me to stay out of Louis's room. Except Louis.
A Louis chciał, żebym przebywała w jego pokoju. Ale tak niebezpiecznie jest trzymanie łódki na dachu. Kto myślił? Podnieść.
Louis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Louis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Louis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery. But he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Louis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Louis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Louis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians.
Tak, mamy. Tworzył muzykę.
And songs for them to play.
Trudne jest to, że kurczę, muszę cały czas te
He
ryby
talked about
brać.
starting a band,
Dążenie zespołu. Ma głośno.
and he was always humming something.
Śpiewałeś.
Every day his imagination grew stronger.
To jest każdym dniem. Wolna ryba.
He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on. In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for radiant rainbows.
To był mały, był miły.
He followed the sound of her
harf. Idziemy.
silver harp.
Dobra, 2A.
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him. He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
Na razie nic nie może, raczej nic nie będziesz miał ciekawego. Później będzie ciekawe, na przykład na moim etapie.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
I co ty robisz?
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder.
A 5 przedmiotów? Ol. Ale 5 przez wszystkie lata? 5 czy 5 ogólnie?
With his companions.
Pola kasy nie rozszerzaj. Polak jak rozszerzysz, będziesz miał tak przewalone.
Including the wise Calico who insisted on advising him.
Nie, no to już się lepiej sobie rozszerzyć, nie wiem. Jak już chcesz matmę, to matmę. Nie wiem, infę. Albo WOS. Nie no, powiedziałam, że nie rozszerzyj sobie.
His queen waited, holding his crown.
No to zależy, jaki masz rozdziała.
Bend down his head.
O nie, dlaczego? To... Nie pochylaj głowy, debilu, nad tym. Nad... do odcinania głowy.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
On zrobił. Więc nie wiem. Tak, bo nie chce mi się odkrywać twoich tych. Oh.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Głowy sobie uciął, a ty nie. Została mi ostatnia osoba. Nie, dwie. Down. Down i... Down. Nie schodź. Ale bongo. Chłop to miał nawalone. A tu nie wychodź, Boże, tam była kropka. Żeby odkrywać wiadomości. Któryś raz wchodzę.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
Edith.
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
A to ja jestem Edith, Boże! A ja myślałam o Edith cały czas.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
To our final night together, and all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
Drzwi był genialnym pomysłem.
The thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight.
Serio? Przez...
We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Niby przez Eddie. Weź to. No?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground.
Mam iść. Nic, wszystko dobrze będzie. Chyba do góry muszę. Nie, tutaj gdzieś. Tutaj. Nie, czekaj, bo jest ten. Ma nie wejść.
God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
Ale światełko było czerwone.
I got turned around.
O. Dobra.
For a while, I wondered. I started seeing things.
A musimy iść. Idziemy za nim.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go!
Dostaw to.
I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car and I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again.
A babciu. Nie chcę jechać z tobą,
The
stara.
next morning, the van came to pick her up, but
Zostać
she
z
was
babcią.
already gone. After that, we moved around a lot.
Też tak lubię robić.
We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by.
Kilka lat.
My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone.
Sadkę trochę.
Last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you.
O mnie?
I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins.
Wychodzi na to, że
I'm sorry
tak.
I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
O, Edith. Ej, wytyfy, jestem chłopakiem. Ale kim jestem? Koniec chyba. Ona umarła w wieku... Czekajcie. Ona umarła, to było 2,17. 18 lat? Co ona zrobiła? No przecież ona była w ciąży. W 22 jak chodziła potem to w wieku 17 lat. I łeb. Big brain. Ale... O, koniec? Mogę to przyspieszyć jakoś? Łeb, w sensie... Trochę sadgę, ale dlaczego wszyscy poumierali w takim wieku? W sumie... Ej, nie, dała tutaj. Dorysowała mamę i dorysowała babcię. nie. I Milton. Kit, jakby skończyliśmy grę. Teraz wezmę z gry. Tak jest. Wezmę tylko czas sobie otworzyć. Nie. Nie zmieniłam płci jeszcze. Smutne. Tak smutne jest gra. Czekaj, puszczę wam. Ile mamy tego live'a? Możemy zagrać jakąś gierkę na koniec. Możemy jeszcze w sumie poczekać te 3 minuty. Godziny 50. O, raz, bo przez chwilę 8 osób na live'ie. Są 3. Ja mam polone lekcje. Zaraz chyba się pójdę spać. Ponieważ chcę jutro się wyspać na jutrzejszy dzień. Zastanawiam się, bo chcę nagrać parę odcinków, ale tak nie za bardzo wychodzi. Wiecie? Mapę z samego rana, angielski wychowawcza, polski i... Ile mam jutro lekcji? To jest jutro. Nie, ja pojutrze jakby powinnam iść do szkoły, ale nie idę. Fajno. Teraz pojedyncze robimy. Fajne w sumie, że takie wolne, ale... Ale to. Ja wam dziękuję za oglądanie w sumie tego live'ika. Jutro po godzinie 14 pewnie zrobię, albo jakoś tak. Po na pewno godzinie 14.